Man, it feels good wearing this shirt, these colors, this hat. Because you know what it means? Fall is officially here. Summer is winding down as we get into the fall and winter months. And that means football is back, baby. But more specifically, college football. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Trevor here, as always. And today, I will be talking about these guys right here, the Penn State Nittany Lions, more specifically, the number 7 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions, as their season kicks off this weekend. College football is officially back in full swing, the NFL next week, and then hockey season starts up too. It is a glorious time of year, my favorite time of year, and let's just get right into it. So Penn State, the 2023 Penn State Nittany Lions, starting off the season ranked number 7 in the AP preseason ranked polls. And this is going to be an interesting year for a lot of reasons. Coming off the 10-win season, winning the Rose Bowl in January against Utah, the last traditional Rose Bowl game between the Big Ten and the unfortunate dying Pac-12, but we'll get into that later on in this video because the college football landscape is most certainly changing starting next year, but we will get into that. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of the game, and then I'll just get into my thoughts for the year, because if you didn't see the update video, I'm not gonna go over every game this year doing weekly videos. It burned me out, and the viewership wasn't really that good. So I'm going to do a season preview, and then I'll check in during the bye week, and then I'll have a regular season recap, and hopefully a bowl game preview. Praying a nice bowl game this year would be nice. But I do just want to talk about the Mountaineers quick, because it is Penn State, West Virginia, this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. on NBC. Yes, you have heard that correctly, NBC, and that is the first topic I want to talk about here. The new Big Ten TV/media deals are now officially in effect, getting, I think, over $1 billion. I want to say at least $500 million for sure. No more ESPN, so Big Ten games will no longer be on the ESPN family of networks. It will now be on Fox, their family, FS1, all that. NBC will have a Saturday night game of the week, and some games will also be on Peacock, the streaming service, and also CBS has picked up the Big Ten, so they will no longer have the SEC in that 3:30 p.m. Saturday spot. That'll be now a Big Ten game of their choosing, so there we go on that. I believe also maybe some night games mixed in there as well, depending on it. So very exciting for the Big Ten as a whole. Again, this is what college football is now, so it's very exciting, and I'm sure the universities appreciate some of this money coming in for them as well. So, NBC, this Saturday, Penn State, West Virginia, the Mountaineers. And how about this for a fact? I had to go into the archives for this one. The last meeting between Penn State and the Mountaineers, October 24th, 1992. What were you doing in 1992? Me, I wasn't even a thought yet. I was a nothing. So, Penn State and West Virginia meeting for the first time since 1992. Penn State leads the all-time series 48-9-2. And in that meeting in Morgantown, West Virginia, Penn State held off the Mountaineers to win 40-26. And in that game, Kerry Collins for Penn State threw 249 yards, 15 of 30 on the day, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Richie Anderson ran for 3 touchdowns. Old school stuff right here. And 1992, the last time these two teams, met. So, very nice for that. And also on the TV side, how about this one? This will be the first time the Penn State Nittany Lions will be on NBC since September 9th of 2006 when they played at Notre Dame. Notre Dame obviously has the NBC rights for all their games. Home games, I should say. So, Penn State is 7-3 all-time on games broadcast at NBC, with 8 of the 10 appearances coming in bowl games, and this will mark NBC's first ever game in Beaver Stadium. I know they did some media stuff a couple months ago, just getting like B-roll footage and all that. So, very exciting times. So, let us get right into it for the Penn State side of South for the year. This will definitely be James Franklin's most talented roster he's ever had in his 10 years now. Can you believe it? 10 years James Franklin has been coaching Penn State. He talked about it back on the media days, not only for the Big Ten side, but the Penn State side, and he said it's surreal that he's made it 10 years. Doesn't really happen much in college football anymore, the way coaches get shuffled around, this and that, but, you know, for him to be around 10 years is, he said, it's proud and I'm happy to be where I am. And of course, he got the nice contract extension last year as well. So, definitely a proud coach in Mr. Franklin. And, you know, you look at the team itself and some names, talent-wise, the talent is there, don't get me wrong. But just some names to keep an eye on. Let's start at the quarterback position. Drew Aller. So Drew Aller will come in for the first time since 2017. I want to say, because Clifford played at a back. Clifford came in relief, I think, in 2017. I want to say he did, right? No. Why does that sound wrong? I should have wrote this down. I forget the first game. It was against Michigan. I know that. It was a game against Michigan. Was it 2019? Might have been 2019. I probably 2019. Okay, so either way, first time in a very long time that, I want to say 5 years at least, we have a new starting quarterback. It is no longer Sean Clifford. He has been drafted into the NFL, selected by the Green Bay Packers, and he will be their backup to start the year. So congratulations to Clifford for earning that spot. I know some people are like, oh, Clifford can't make it into the NFL. Well, he did, and he's now the backup for the Packers, so behind Jordan Love. So hats off to Mr. Clifford there. I hope the best for him. So, Drew Aller, the 5-star quarterback coming out of high school, potential, just oozing potential. Because Penn State's never had that guy at the quarterback position. The last 5-star guy to come out of high school, Christian Hackenberg. You know, but you look at a guy like Aller now, and he comes in with the offense Mike Yurcich had set up, and it's a worker. Okay, let me explain it this way, because I'm trying to get to the point. Aller's not going to come in and immediately just boom. You know, it's going to take some time. Now, he's not going to be a true starter. He did play in some meaningful snaps last season. Had to come in for a couple possessions in the first game against Purdue. It wasn't just him coming out late in the fourth quarter and either handing the ball off or kneeling. You know, he played in some meaningful snaps. So, it's not that he's a true starting for the first time, but it's not just going to be that explosiveness immediately. Can he get there? Absolutely he can. But it's not going to be, just boom, right off the bat. In my opinion. So, while I'm excited for Drew Aller, and a lot of hype surrounding him, and rightfully so, will it pop off immediately is the question. So, just something to keep an eye on. The running backs, I am so happy about that. Now we have a legit running game, which also helps Drew as well. Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, the two freshman running backs last year, dominated. I want to say at least the Big Ten. I know Michigan has some solid backs up there, but in terms of young running backs, Singleton and Allen may be one of the best duos in the nation. Nick Singleton, the Gatorade Player of the Year coming out of high school, just exploded. You look at his highlights against Auburn, well, he just ran. Katron Allen, again, I'm hoping these two will stick around. And if they do, again, the offensive capabilities then opens up for Aller in the passing game, in the play action. There's so much you could do with good running backs. So that is also something to keep an eye on. Olu Fashanu, the offensive lineman who announced he was coming back for Penn State for one more year. Yes, the best offensive lineman in the nation, Olu Fashanu. This guy didn't give up a single sack last year whenever he had a defensive player on him. How many sacks did he give up? 0. All you need to know right there. I'll save you the trouble of Googling. Definitely a first-round pick if he would have gone to the draft. Absolutely. But now he has the opportunity to be a top 10, maybe even top 5 draft pick now that he's staying another year. And thank God, that is going to help Drew Aller a lot, so I'm excited for him. You look on the defensive side of the ball, Abdul Carter, the next guy in that linebacker U tradition, wearing number 11. And if you know Penn State linebackers who wear 11, yeah, Abdul Carter. This guy, let me talk to you about Abdul Carter for a quick second. Freshman last year, and he exploded early in the season and later in the season too, man. He was on fire. So, definitely at that linebacker position, just keeping that linebacker U tradition on. So, good for Abdul Carter. The rest of the defense as well. You're looking at a fast, tall, athletic defense, man, on all 3 levels. Defensive line, edges, linebackers, why am I struggling? CBs, safeties, a couple guys, Chop Robinson, Jalen Reed, Curtis Jacobs, Kalen King. Again, the talent rise of this team, and they're pretty stacked, 2-3 deep at every position. Sometimes even 4 deep. It's going to be an interesting year, but the problem is, and I'm going to get into the schedule here in a minute, you still have Ohio State and Michigan looming. Now, there is a stat, and I found this watching someone's preview. And a lot of people bring it up. James Franklin's good, but he's not good enough. James Franklin can't win the big one. He's just there. Okay, I agree. Has he struggled against Ohio State and Michigan? Absolutely. You're looking at 1-8 against Ohio State since he took the job. You're looking at 3-6 against Michigan since he took the job. So, you're looking at a 4-14 record against Ohio State and Michigan in his tenure. And the other Big Ten schools, he's well above 500. He's lost, I think I could count him less on 10 fingers, the amount of other losses he's had against other Big Ten schools since he's come in. So, it shows that he isn't there yet. But I'm going to bring this up. People were talking about Jim Harbaugh the same way for many years. He couldn't beat Ohio State. He just wasn't good enough. And then what happens 2 years ago? They beat Ohio State. He went into the shoe last year, beat Ohio State. Now he has the chance to beat Ohio State 3 years in a row, which is something that hasn't been done since the late 90s, I believe. Early 2000s, I think, too. So, why can't James Franklin do the same? That's all I'll say to the people who rag on James Franklin. Now, his play calling skills are also another thing that have been questioned. You look at the ending to Ohio State in 2018 where you drew up a QB draw on 4th down. What? Like, just, there have been some questions with his play calling, so it's just, I think James Franklin can get there. I really do. So why are we not giving him the same benefit as Harbaugh in Michigan? That's all. The talent is certainly there. I've been over it. So let's get into the schedule now. Obviously, West Virginia this Friday. Delaware next week. At Illinois to kick off the Big Ten schedule. And once again, another year starting on the road against a Big Ten opponent. Blah, 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 blah. I hope that changes soon. Especially with the way the conference will be changing next year. Starting next year. Because it's ridiculous how many years now Penn State has been on the road to start their Big Ten slate. Anyways, then you get Iowa the next week at Northwestern. Then you'll bye UMass after the bye. Then at Ohio State, Indiana, at Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers, and then at Michigan State Thanksgiving weekend in Ford Field in Detroit. And that game will be on NBC. And oh boy. That's going to be a interesting one to end the year there. So, you do have your challenges. Iowa coming to Happy Valley is huge. That'll be a good test on the 23rd of September. UMass before the Ohio State game, a good little warm-up game before you have to go to the shoe on the 21st in October. Michigan on November 11th, a big noon kickoff. Should be a night game, but whatever. That's just the way. And unfortunately now, going back to the media deals, Penn State doesn't have that option anymore for the ESPN Saturday night whiteout game. That they would normally do their whiteout slot game in College Game Day would come into town. Because they are... Big Ten no longer has the broadcasting rights with ESPN. So that is now the big noon kickoff. And whiteout games in the day just aren't the same at night. My opinion. So you want to get off to a strong start. Penn State has won 18 of their last 21 seasoning open contests and 6 of its last 7. So getting off on the right foot is key. No offense to West Virginia. I think Penn State will win. They are a 21-point favorite for a reason. And I just think, opening at home on a Saturday night will be a good start for the team. So, prediction time. I think this is a 10-win team. And in fact, I'll go one step further. I think they will split Ohio State and Michigan this year. They will win one of those two matchups. Whether it's at Ohio State or against Michigan on November 11th in Beaver Stadium. They will split those matchups and go 11-1. Which can open up the door, depending on how the game goes at the end of the year. However that goes, they either beat Michigan or Ohio State. That game at the end of the year could open up the door for Penn State to potentially sneak their way into not only a Big Ten championship, depending on other records and everything, but potentially a college football playoff as well, if they go 11-1 for the fact. I think it's at least a 10-win team based off what happened last year. But if you want to make noise, you have to win one of those games. You just have to. And I will end with this. And this is the last note. And I started it off at the beginning. This is it, folks. This is the last traditional year of Big Ten football as we know it. Now, as someone who's growing up in the early 2000s, 2010s, this style is all I've really known. Just these teams and the way it is. I mean, I remember when Rutgers and Maryland were announced as joining the Big Ten, and it was like, okay, it's new, but I've gotten used to it, and it makes sense geographically. Now, I'm not saying that I'm an old school guy, like, oh, each region has to have its own conference, blah, 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 blah. Like, I get that. Teams move for a reason, to get better deals for their universities, their athletic departments, football buildings, etc. And NIL deals now as well. That helps too. So, to see the Pac-12 die the way it is and find out how they botched so hard on their TV deals. And now next year, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, all joining the Big Ten. Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. It's going to take some getting used to. I'm not fully against it, but I'm willing to brace it. And it's going to be a little weird. So, and plus, too, it's, with the way the schedule is now, there's going to be no more divisions, too. It's just one big conference. And you're rotating games. Like, it's going to be weird. Not playing Michigan and Ohio State every year. Now, will that help Penn State? Maybe, but now you get the challenges of USC, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, new team, etc. And the expanded college playoff, too, will hopefully help. It sucks knowing that Penn State probably won't make the traditional 4-team the way it started, and 2016 still looms, even though they probably would have gotten their butts whooped by Alabama if they would have made it in. But change is good. They say change is good. I'm willing to embrace it. I'm willing to accept it. It's just going to take a little getting used to. So, the 137th year of Penn State football kicks off this weekend. I will be watching, keeping along, and hopefully a good year for the boys up in State College in Happy Valley there. So, with that, that's going to end this one. Thank you all for watching. Of course, I appreciate your viewership. My name is Trevor, and I will see you for the next one.